Dr. Abel Damina was not supposed to discourage the people from paying tithe. He was only supposed to emphasize on tithe mismanagement. Okay, so that was the point where I wanted to correct him. Okay, Abel Damina was not supposed to discourage people from paying tithe, but what he was supposed to do was just to emphasize on tithe mismanagement. Now, when we say tithe mismanagement is the act of using the tithe for unnecessary purpose rather than the initial purpose. Just like let me take for example, if the citizens are paying tax and the government are not using the tax for what it's supposed to be used for, then it is a bad thing. So also, when the people are paying the tithe and it is not used for what it is intended for, that is when it becomes bad. So now, what are the tithes supposed to be used for? Okay, it is the work of God. And what are the work of God? As I've said earlier on, preaching the gospel to the poor. Now, when they say preaching the gospel to the poor, it does not mean preaching to those that don't have money. It simply means preaching to those who have not heard the gospel, those that don't have access to the gospel, that the gospel must reach them. That is what it means by preaching the gospel to the poor, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, taking care of the sick, visiting prisoners. So when you visit prisoners, by all means, you have to feed them and you have to make them happy. So these are what the tithe in the churches are supposed to be used for. So if the tithe are not used for feeding the hungry, for clothing the naked, for taking care of the sick, for visiting the prisoners, these are the things that we're supposed to emphasize on. But we should not start discouraging the members from paying tithes. For example, if the government are misusing the taxes, that does not mean you should discourage the citizen from paying tax. So also in the church, the fact that although in some churches in the world today some people are misusing the tithe, so what we supposed to emphasize on is how to stop the mismanagement of tithe, but not to stop or to discourage the people from paying tithe, because it is a sin against God. And some of you say that you are not seeing results in your